This little tadpole of glass is about to beat a hammer. And then, 2 fingers are going to destroy it completely. No trick photography. No special coating. Just ordinary glass, shaped like a teardrop with a long thin tail. Put the fat end under a hammer and swing. The hammer bounces. Sometimes the steel chips before the glass does. Now take that same object, and snap the thin tail with your fingers. The entire drop turns to powder, faster than you can blink. Same material. Same object. One end is nearly indestructible, the other end is a self-destruct button. It's called a Prince Rupert's drop. And for almost 350 years, nobody could fully explain it. Kings played with it. The smartest scientists in Europe were baffled by it. Today, we're going to crack it open, safely. Because hiding inside this toy is a principle so useful, you're almost certainly carrying it in your pocket right now. Start with how it's made, because the recipe is almost stupidly simple. Melt glass until it glows. Then let a single drop fall into a bucket of cold water. That's it. That's the whole recipe. But what happens inside that drop, in the next few seconds underwater, creates everything you just saw. The instant the drop hits the water, its outer skin freezes solid. A hard glass shell forms in a heartbeat. But the inside hasn't gotten the message. The core is still molten, a pocket of liquid fire sealed inside a rigid shell. And here's the trap, as that core slowly cools, it contracts. It wants to shrink. But it's welded to a shell that has already set. It can't pull away. So instead, it pulls the entire shell inward. Hard. The result, the surface of the drop ends up crushed under enormous compression, while the core is stretched tight in tension. Think of a stone arch bridge. Stone is weak when you bend it, but almost unbeatable when you squeeze it. Compression is strength. Cracks are the only way glass ever breaks, and a crack is a tiny gap trying to open. You can't open a door that a crowd is pushing shut. That's why the hammer loses. Every crack it tries to start gets slammed shut by the compressed surface, armor made a pure squeeze. Studies that finally measured it found compression in the head rivaling some grades of steel. From a drop of glass. Cooled in a bucket. But physics keeps receipts. All that squeezing on the outside means the inside is loaded like a drawn bow. The drop isn't calm. It's a frozen explosion, enormous elastic energy locked in place, waiting for one thing to go wrong. And the tail is where the armor runs thin. Snap it, and for the first time, a crack gets inside, into the stretched, loaded core. Once a crack reaches that tension zone, it doesn't spread. It detonates. The crack front races through the glass at over a mile per second. Your eye stands no chance. Scientists needed cameras shooting hundreds of thousands of frames per second just to watch the drop die. On screen, it looks less like breaking, and more like unexisting. So here's the principle to take with you: squeeze a surface hard enough, and even fragile glass becomes armor. Hold that thought, it's about to show up somewhere personal. Now, the history. Because the story of how this thing got its name is its own plot twist. The year is 1660. A battle-hardened soldier prince, Rupert of the Rhine, arrives at the English court carrying a handful of these strange glass tears. He presents them to the king. And the king does something surprisingly modern with them: he hands them to scientists. The Royal Society, the newest scientific club in the world, is told, more or less, explain this. They couldn't. Robert Hooke came closest, publishing his study in 1665, he guessed the violent cooling was the key. But no one could see the forces hiding inside the glass. Meanwhile, court legend says the drops became the king's favorite prank: hand one over, invite a curious tug on the tail, and enjoy the tiny explosion in a courtier's palm. But here's the twist: Prince Rupert didn't invent them. He didn't even discover them. Glassmakers in Northern Europe had been making these tears before he ever showed up. Some called them Dutch tears. Rupert was just the delivery man. History named the mystery after the messenger. And the mystery outlived them all. Only in the last decade did researchers finally read the stress locked inside, using polarized light that makes the frozen forces glow in rainbow colors. Which brings us to the real reveal. Remember the rule, squeeze the surface, get armor? You own this technology. Your phone screen shrugs off drops because engineers deliberately squeeze its surface into compression, the same trick, done with chemistry instead of a bucket of water. Your car's side windows are tempered glass, essentially a controlled, flattened Prince Rupert's drop. It's why they explode into blunt little cubes instead of knives. Shower doors. Oven doors. The screen you're watching this on. A 17th century party trick quietly became the safety glass wrapped around your entire life. That's the pattern in this series. Every impossible material starts as a mystery, embarrasses the experts, and ends up in your pocket.